How's it going, everybody? My name's Dave Whipple and welcome back to my Bush Radical Knife Shop series. And today what we're going to do is we're going to build a forge. We're going to build an awesome forge, a genius forge, but it's not my idea. I stole this from a YouTube channel called The Essential Craftsman. It looked to be a very simple, very practical forge build, and that's what we're going to do today. Stay tuned. Now the first thing I need to do, I need to cut 4 pieces of threaded rod, 1 foot each. So there's my threaded rod. I need a bunch of pieces of this 2x2 by 1/8 inch angle iron. I need 2 of them at 18 inches, a couple of them at 9, etc. There's a bunch to cut out. I'll show you all the parts as soon as they're cut. Right now I'm making marks at 18 inches, 36 inches, 45 inches, and 54 inches. Because I'll need 2 pieces at 9 and I'll need 2 pieces at 18. Now with this last piece, what I need is I need 2 rails. They're going to run like that. The threaded rod's going to bolt up through them, hold the box of bricks together. That's going to be the forge. But this is going to be the foundation for the forge. I need 2 of these pieces, 24 inches-ish. I can't wait to get to the drill press, because I sure love running my drill press. Very few things in the shop I enjoy working with as much as a drill press. And not just any drill press. I like the old ones. They're smooth, they're quiet. They don't make noise. They're just fun to work with. Alright, so this is the general idea. These 2 rails are going to act as the foundation. If one was here, the other one would be here. Everything's built on top of it. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to take and put them both right next to each other, with this chunk of wood underneath just to hold them up. Something like this. And this is how I'm going to mark them. I'm going to make the marks I need to drill the upright threaded rod that's going to hold it all together. And when I say hold it all together, this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to take an 18-inch piece, not a 9, it's just for demonstration, and another 18-inch piece. Put my highly insulated ceramic fire bricks right here. I'm going to put 1 extra one out here on each side, then a box right here. It'll be very simple. But first I just want to make sure I know where everything is going to come in. Not only that, but here's the other important part. There's going to be a piece down here at the end. Its purpose is to hold this together, for starters. And the other purpose is it's going to hold the burner in place. The burner's ultimately going to sit in the box, kind of like right about there. Now what I want to do here is I want to locate this piece, the way that burner is going to come in just on an angle, right about like there. I know one thing for certain, I'll probably want that notch right dead center in the middle, just to keep that burner from rocking back and forth. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a notch. Just something. There, something like that. Something where it just wants to sit in about the right spot. If I leave about 1 inch here on the end to put my threaded rod uprights in, and I've already set this burner up here to kind of gauge about how I want it to sit and about where I want it to go in, I think, scooch that forward just a fuzz, I think right about there is where I want to mount it. So I'm just going to give it a mark on both sides like that. Now if I go down here, drill in a spot here, and I can drill in a spot right there. Then I'm going to scribe right across. And this is where I'm going to put my threaded rod. And do the same thing down here. I'm going to take and make my mark. Now that I've got my first holes marked and my second holes down here marked, I'm just going to go ahead and drill them right now. I'll put my 1/8 inch holes in first, then probably work my way up to a 1/2 inch in 2 stages. Man, that's a good sharp drill bit. Son of a gun. Wow, once the threaded rod is in, not only will you see how it goes together, but it's also going to determine where my other holes need to be. Here's how it kind of works. There's an upright. The 90 goes tight against the nut. The bricks sit inside here. And then there's another piece over here and the other upright. And the uprights hold everything together. So, not really knowing what my number is, because I'm using two different size threaded rod, I'm going to just build it and then work with it from there. There used to be a guy that did carpentry videos. His name was Larry Hahn. And one thing I loved about watching Larry's videos is Larry never measured anything. He would put stuff together as it was and then mark it. And that's how he rolled. Him and his brother were carpenters, and you never seen these guys use a tape measure. That's why I'm not going to go off of a set of numbers from the internet. Not that I don't think they're right, but I want to work with what exists. Right now what exists is all I've got done here. And then I will figure out where my next holes need to be and get those drilled. Now there's the basic idea for the bottom of the forge. And on this side it's going to be held together by 7/16. Because that's what I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that nut. I'm going to make sure everything's flush along this side. Squeeze these bricks, make sure there's no slop. Take that nut, push it up against the edge here. I'm going to drop a marker down it and I'm going to get a center mark. Looks about right. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I have a couple flange bolts here. There's the flange bolt. There's the washer. Up through the bottom. Throw that dude on there. And I've got a lock nut. Same thing on the other side. What a boring video. Well, it's about to get good because this is where everything comes together and it turns from being just a pile of nothing to a really cool forge. First off, we're going to lay in our pieces that are 18 inches long, like so. From there, we're going to put in 4 pieces of fire brick. Just like this. Now we're going to lay in 2 more pieces of fire brick, just like this. Now 2 more pieces across the top, just like this. I'm going to get everything lined up as best we can. From there we take our 2 pieces of 9-inch angle iron that we cut earlier, and we're going to set them right down here. And these are going to clamp these bricks together. I'm going to kind of put some pressure on there. I want that nut maybe just a fraction below that angle iron. Everything's been squashed tight that way. Now I can get up underneath here with my wrench and make sure that these are good and tight. These nuts that are locking onto this angle iron, you know, they need to be as good as they can be. There we go. Good. Beauty. I think we're right in the neighborhood. Put these top bars on. Just give that a good squeeze, because I want this whole package to be about as snug together as it needs to be. One thing I love about this whole build design is you don't need to weld. Oh yeah, check that out. Not only that, it's super cool, but when you put a brick back here, you have a door, put a brick right here, you have a door. The end of this forge burner is pretty rough, and it's gonna kind of deter itself from going into a hole. So I'm gonna take that to the belt grinder for a sec. That's a lot better. That's gonna fit into a hole much easier. All right, now I'd set that thing up there, about like so. You can kind of see from where that sets. It needs to go in on pretty good angle. So I'm gonna try to follow that same angle when I drill it. See if I can just break loose that block. Nothing better to use for that than an Allen wrench. Works like a charm. Perfect. Now let's install our burner. This brick is just something. Oh man, there we go. Our burner just comes through the hole. Right back here on the tail end where we had cut a notch in earlier. I'm going to be able to bolt that right down, or wire it down, or do something with it to hold that right in place right there. Well, when I watched the original video, the guy used some tie wire to wire it on. I was looking at that, I was like, oh, that's kind of a hokey way to hold that. But you know what? Having been a concrete guy my whole life, and having tie wire right here on hand, well, now that I come to the same place and the same process, I think it's probably just as good a way to do it as any to tie wire this thing on. And always having tie wire handy is, well, you know, it's one of those things that kind of the hipsters caught on to, you know, it's a survival item, tie wire. Iron workers and cement guys, I mean, we don't go anywhere without this stuff. I keep a roll of this stuff in my car when I travel across the country, going through Canada, and it always comes in handy. It does everything duct tape won't do. So if you ever feel like you're just you're looking for that thing you don't have in your life, it's probably a roll of tie wire. Go pick one up. I would have to say that's about as good as it's gonna get. About as good as I'm gonna get it anyway. I'm not gonna do much more with this forge tonight other than light it and try it out. This will be the first time I've ever run a forge of any kind other than my wood stove. Sometimes I'd stick a chunk of metal in the wood stove, just open it wide open, let it really rip, and take it out and pound on it. You know, my intention for this forge has nothing to do with forging. It's got everything to do with heat treating knives. But honestly, having it around, I'll probably do some forging. Why wouldn't you? Most of the time, probably gonna be using this for heat treating. Woo! I think I lost my eyebrows. You can see there's some moisture in them bricks, being that they're used and been sitting around a bit. They're kind of steaming up a bit. Quite nice. Well, we know it works, we know it gets hot, we know you turn it on and light it and it makes fire. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me while I put together this forge. I want to say a special thanks to two people. Steve Ganem, #1, for turning me on to the portaband and getting me away from the upright bandsaw conversion from a wood bandsaw. Not a good road to go down. Portaband is the way to go. It's been fantastic. I also want to thank the Essential Craftsman, because the Essential Craftsman gave me the idea for this forge, and fantastic build. It was easy to do. Just a drill press, some threaded rod, some angle iron, and we got a forge. Thank you so much for watching Bush Radical. My name's Dave Whipple. Be radical, eh? See you soon.